Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. Benjamin, you said sound. Was there something wrong with my sound? Please let me know what was wrong with my sound, because obviously I can't really hear myself. So it'd be great if you let me know. Is it popping? Is there noise in the background? What is it exactly? That'd be great to know. Appreciate it. Right. First thing, I wanted to just give a shout out to Vera. Vera sent me some very cute graphics that she made with AI for Halloween. What did y'all do? I felt like in London it was a little bit more muted, or it could, do you know what? It could actually just be the area that I am. It just seemed a little bit more muted. I didn't actually go to Central. It was probably popping off a little bit more in Central. But thank you so much to Vera for sending me these. She sends me really, really cute images. These are just so creative. Absolutely amazing what we can do now with graphics and AI. I also wanted to remind y'all about the podcast that I did with over at Squad Family TV. I saw a couple of comments of people asking, oh, did we do the live yet? Did I miss it? We did do it. Here it is. I'll just give you the link so you can go and watch if you haven't already. It was such a brilliant podcast, and I will definitely have him back on. And there's somebody else really special that I'm going to have on soon also. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's the link to the podcast that I did with Brian. If you want to go and listen to it, it was a good time. All right. Next thing. Thank you also everyone for your birthday wishes. Much appreciated. Well, let's get into it. This posted about an hour or two ago. Meghan, Harry, and her friend Kelly. I'm assuming this is like their cinema room. They were watching the World Series final, I believe, and the Dodgers won. That's who Meghan supports. The Canadian World Series, sorry. And yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, what are they celebrating or movie? It was so funny. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then Kelly actually posted that they were watching the game. So I just love that Meghan posts these things and she puts these things out, because it just continues to prove that her and Meghan are so unbothered. And yet again, this past week, we saw more headlines about William taking the titles. William's going to take the titles already. Oh my God, take them. Take them. I'm going to Tina from Sussex Squad podcast back in the day, where she's literally yelling, take them, take the titles. Because at this point, do you know what's going to happen if they take those titles? It's just going to prove how utterly pointless and meaningless they are in the modern context of things. I know that for Harry and Meghan and their family name and their lineage, especially of their kids, I understand the sentimental value for them. I'm not trying to dismiss that, but if we're talking about most average people walking the streets these days, ain't nobody care about them titles. The titles originally anyway were to so that people could pass down land, assets, for marriage, and so that the aristos could track their family lines. Most average families, you can't really track your line that too far back, probably beyond your great grandparents. It's something elites are very good at. Most working class people they can't track their lineage like that. So that's really what those titles were for. And obviously certain people in certain circles, for them, it gives them this sense of pompous hierarchy. If I had an earl or a countess or someone is standing in front of me right now, I will give them the same respect that I give the street cleaner. I give everybody the same respect. I don't care what your title is. I really don't care. I have so much more respect for people that earned what they have. People that work hard. I have more respect, for or regard for the sportsman that trained his whole life to win a medal than I do for some royal who was just born into royalty or just happened to marry into royalty. And even with Harry and Meghan, I respect the people that they are and the fact that they use their position and privilege to do the great things that they do. I don't really care that Harry is a royal. I don't really care that Meghan, got to marry the prince. That's not the basis of which I am a fan of these two people. They just happened to be in this situation, and with the hearts that they have, they do great things with the position that they have. So please, William screaming and yeah, I'm going to take you're going to take the titles that Harry and Meghan offered to give up anyway. I'm going to find that clip from the Netflix documentary and play it and put it in a TikTok. FYI, if you didn't see my birthday live, I am leaving the UK and I'm finally going to be in a much better apartment, much better creative space. So you're going to get a lot more from me, by the way. My last apartment was awful. Wasn't really even just like doing podcasts on the daily. Let me tell you, it was a struggle. But I got it done, and now I've left, and I can more from me. I'll be in a much better place. Let's have a look. Helen, he said, and I'm doing a Catherine Tate now. Unbothered. Let them take the Richard title. Exactly. I'm tired. We're all. I've been on these royal streets for 4 years. You've been screaming, "Take the titles. Take them." You've barely even taken Andrews, mind you, because apparently that would still take an act to Parliament. They're just giving all this weird smoke and mirrors. And even with Andrew, I don't care if you take his titles. What I care about is if you're taking him to court. Forget about taking the titles. Take him to court. Lord, so much for much appreciated. Chef Sandy Love, I feel like I haven't seen you for a while in the chat. Lovely to see you. Is it because I'm doing it from a different time? Chief Dilly, what the heck is the title anyway? It's like they removed the word MR Mister, made it a big deal. It was all to do with, passing down these estates, the land, passing it down to their children, passing it to whoever they married into, and tracking their family line. It's like the Spencer family. They're that Althorpe that they have. I think it's been in the family for centuries. So they're able to keep their assets and track who is actually owed those assets. And even I think the Middleton family, one of the ways that they were initially able to afford their lifestyle was because they were owed some inheritance or something like that. I'm gonna look into that. But there's a story about this, about how they got some of their money. Benjamin, you said, I know William wants inclination. However, if he thinks it will make them more popular, it will not do anything providing there's no crime committed. I bet money on it. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, you had to have committed a crime or something. Most people that have had their titles or honors taken away, well, actually, to be honest, I don't know in modern history if anybody has had a title taken away, but many people have had their honors taken away. And it's usually like celebrities or people in media or people who are in the church, who were later found of being criminal and criminalized for something. usually echelon offences. So people like people in the church have had their honours taken away, but titles is a whole different thing. And yeah, if they take the titles away, Harry will still be a blood royal. Helen, you said many of you will not probably know there are loads of unknown questions that haven't been answered. You need to Google Bishop Peter Ball and Prince Charles and their relationship, a child and a light. Yeah, and this is the other thing, and I'm glad you've mentioned that, Helen. There are so many other people who need to be held accountable for things, whether it's the bishop, whether it's Lord Mountbatten. I mean, the Irish didn't thing. They didn't blow up his boat for nothing. So many people have been protected. Oh dear. But I'm just glad that Harry and Meghan are away from this mess. They are away from this mess. They are at peace. And they need to stay away. They shouldn't get involved for any reason. I know Harry loves his cousins, but leave Beatrice and Eugenie. Leave them alone for now, please. You've got fools trying to drag Harry and Meghan. These were the ghouls over at Talk TV who are. I mean, this was 18 hours ago. Meghan Markle was bad luck for the LA Dodgers, who just won. Meghan's Halloween Horror Show. What, her advertisement for the holiday season of As Ever? These people are so sad. And it's just pathetic because they use Meghan's name while bashing her. And I think it actually makes them feel embarrassed. I think behind the cameras, they're embarrassed that they need someone that they dislike and bully day in and day out to give them any traction. If you go to their social medias, it's always posts about Harry and Meghan that do the best, looking like absolute fools in their horrible Halloween costumes. Anyway, to Harry and Meghan, who are doing great things, thoughts for those in Jamaica, but they need more than our thoughts. They also need our efforts. Jamaica is very, very rich. A lot of international developers building resorts, taking over beaches even. I think there's even some beaches in Jamaica that locals can't even access. So a lot of people enjoy Jamaica, benefit from Jamaica, and we need to help them rebuild. And we need to be rebuilding the schools before we rebuild the resorts. So standing with Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa, this is an art trial update. We've been so moved once again by the work of World Central Kitchen, whose team showed up immediately to serve hot meals to thousands of families, and they're far from alone. Aid workers, first responders, volunteers from organizations large and small, they've all dropped everything to help. The commitment is extraordinary. Those communities need our support now. We've donated and asked you to give whatever support you can, large or small, because every little helps. The links below will help you will take you to trusted organizations working directly on the ground in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. Jamaica, a country the Duke and Duchess hold close to their hearts and visited in 2024, has been hit especially hard. Towns and villages that are usually vibrant and full of life have been torn apart. Entire neighborhoods remain underwater. More than 3/4 of the island is still without power, and for many families, the question isn't just about rebuilding, it's about making it through the day. So here are all the organizations that have been approved by the Art Trial Foundation. And I will make sure to repost these in the community tab as well. So please give with open hearts. And well done to Art Trial for showing up and doing good, as they always do. Also, as ever, Christmas orders or Christmas collection orders are arriving very fast with the shipping. People posting their candles, they're sparkly, Janets. Do please enjoy. Now, whoever ordered that 2,000 order, the 1,000 order, I want to see your haul. Please post the picture. Please post the picture of your end of the world survivor prepper haul of as ever goods. You are fully equipped for the end of the world, for the Hunger Games. I think, what was it, 50 honey bottles? My goodness. Actually want to see what that looks like on a table. But well done to As Ever again for a successful collection. And the orders are arriving. Right, let's get on to some of the other royal news. Now, what is, I think, so heartbreaking about this whole Andrew thing? First of all, the victims. And the victims should be at the center of all of this, not stupid talk about Andrew's titles. But also, what's heartbreaking is it's so obvious that the entire institution has rallied to protect this accused sexual offender, giving him money, giving him this is the so-called small cottage that Andrew will be banished to. A prime estate with acres of green grounds. I would happily be in house arrest and somewhere like that for the rest of my life. And he's not even going to be under house arrest. He'll get a nice cushy place here in the UK, and then he'll be able to, go wherever he goes to get his dodgy deals, cash for honors, cash for access. And Charles was happy to protect Andrew. Or maybe he wasn't happy to protect Andrew because there's definitely been a trade-off. But the fact of the matter is that Andrew has been protected. And now the question remains, what was Andrew given? Well, let's have a read of this. So what kind of payoff did King Charles give to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, as he's now called? This is the punishment that you get when you are a royal for being an alleged sexual offender. That's the punishment. Oh, we used to call you one thing, now we're going to call you this. You used to live in this castle, now you're going to live in this one. Charles couldn't do this for his own son and grandchildren. So Charles's communications office has given multiple briefings to the Royal Rota in the past 24 hours about the Andrew Mountbatten Windsor situation. According to the official Rota, the degenerate formerly known as Prince Andrew. Oh, 1 second, folks. My screen is freezing. The degenerate formerly known as Prince Andrew is being punished severely by his brother King Charles. The move to strip Andrew of all titles of the royal was entirely down to the king and his advisors, without pressure from the government or other family members such as Prince William. Well, this is another thing that's so interesting. Is one headline is telling us that it was actually William who was coming down hard on Andrew. Now, according to Emily Mattis, I'm going to play an audio in a minute. William is apparently concerned about his uncle's state of mind. So what is it? And then apparently Kate was the one, according to some Daily Mail briefings, who came down on Andrew, and Kate is ruthless. You've got briefings coming from every direction, and I don't think anybody really knows what's going on. Becky English was seemingly the first. Andrew is being moved into a home on the Sarandon estate. It won't be Wood Farm, which was where Prince Philip retired in his final years. English also noted this. Sources said it has been necessary, given how swiftly events were unfolding, to focus on getting proper security in place. So Andrew will still very much get security. In an act of mercy, the king will fund the move privately. And as Andrew remains a member of the family, Charles will also make private provisions for him. So Charles is ensuring Andrew's security, paying for Andrew to live rent-free in Norfolk, and Andrew will also get private provisions. What the Rota doesn't want to talk about yet is what kind of financial settlement was made. Well, Tom Sykes got a tip for his Royal Substack about what kind of money was involved. In the end, King Charles didn't have any choice. He had to give his brother what he has long been asking for. For I am told that ex-Prince Andrew has received a handsome payoff worth millions in return for surrendering his lease on Royal Lodge. So he's been given millions to move out of one castle or royal estate to live in another one. Now, that's a great trade-off. He's lost nothing. I mean, how much nicer is Royal Lodge than Sarandom anyway? I would assume they're probably about nice. On Thursday, Andrew was stripped of his princely titles in a humiliating manner. He will now be known as Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, following new revelations about his links to Epstein and the publication of Virginia's book. Graham Smith of the anti-monarchy campaign group Republic told the Royalist podcast, and fulsome apologies that it did not, told the Royalist podcast, the problem is the royals keep thinking this is enough. I couldn't care less about the prince title. He remains accused of serious offences, and I do not believe that there is not enough evidence to have a genuine police investigation. Worrying about what he is called or where he lives is not an appropriate response. Indeed, it's an absolute joke, especially to the victims. And it's an insult to our intelligence. Royal Aid said that Andrew did not object to the removal of his titles. Friends of him told the Daily Beast that Andrew had reached a generous financial settlement. Do you know what? I can promise you that Andrew probably doesn't even care about these titles at this point either. He just wants the money, because where else is he going to get the money? And the thing about people like Andrew is that the money will never be enough. He will run through that money pretty quickly, even with the extra allowance that they give him. And then he'll go fishing for more money elsewhere. One said Andrew to be financially compensated for surrendering the remaining 50 years of his lease on one of England's finest homes. The lease was his daughter's inheritance, an asset, and in this country, you can't seize people's assets. Charles was always going to have to pay him off, and he has done what he should have done in the first place. I think if Charles really had any backbone and nothing to hide, which is the other problem, because he has a lot to hide, what we would be seeing is Andrew being wheeled away and charges pressed and an investigation started. That was the other choice that Charles had. But the problem is that Charles has too much to hide. Andrew knows too much. Another for both Sir Alexander and the Daily Beast, the pension is handsome. Buckingham Palace declined to comment. However, in official documentation seen by the Royalists, the palace admitted that not only would Andrew be given a home on the Sarandom estate funded by the king, but that he would also receive direct funding in the form of appropriate private provision. The palace also suggested that he would be allowed to continue earning money privately. Oh, but Harry and Meghan couldn't have half in, half out. While Sites calculates that Charles settled with Andrew for low to mid seven figures, I think Andrew would be a fool to take anything lower than 10 million or thereabouts. Andrew had Charles over a barrel, and Charles had to pay more because Charles' situation for so long, and Charles had completely misread the public mood. Indeed, he did. They really thought that this was just going to blow over like it always has. But the problem is that we've been allowing it to blow over for way too long. In exchange for his royal titles and the Royal Lodge lease, Andrew got a generous payoff worth millions, a permanent home on the Windsor estate in Norfolk, some kind of income for general upkeep, security for life, funded by the monarch, and partly, in one way or another, funded by us, because they make money off of the duchies. And some of the properties on that land is public property, and we have to pay the royal institution to have buildings there or rental leases. That was all uncovered in the documentary that Channel 4 did. So he will still be funded by the monarch, and the ability to travel freely to the Middle East and make sketchy deals there, protection from any larger investigation and prosecution. Andrew made out like a bandit, and I'm waiting to see if there will be another backlash to this deal. Indeed. Absolutely shameful. I'm going to play this piece of audio from Emily Mattis.
To be honest, that I had not properly understood, and I think many in the media had not properly understood, was that Prince William was not actually the one driving this. We'd all understood that the real sort of heft of this move came from Prince William. I was told last night that it
But wasn't it William who was briefing to the press, briefing to Tom Sykes anyway? So to me, it seemed like in the beginning, William probably wanted to take credit for all of this. But when everybody said, "What are you talking about? Why are you talking about titles, not a criminal investigation?" Maybe now he's trying to back off.
is Prince William actually who's most concerned about the state of his uncle's mental health, something that he takes very seriously. His work, Kate's work, has been very close to the issues of mental health.
But they care about Andrew's mental health apparently, and they've made sure that somebody has leaked that they care about Andrew's mental health, but they never cared about their sister-in-law. Interesting.
Health. And I was also told that there was a bit of discomfort, maybe that's too strong. There was a bit of nervousness from the siblings, from Prince Edward, from Princess Anne, who didn't want their eldest brother to go too hard on their other brother, Andrew.
And why not? Because nobody's ever gone too hard on Andrew, and that's the problem. The Queen coddled him way too much, and that's why we're here now.
But it was the King himself who had nerves of steel. And again, contrary to what we read in the newspapers, I heard that originally there was extremely strong pushback from Andrew, who was trying to find every means and every reasons he could to resist this. And when I asked last night what brought Andrew around, I was told that the monarch had simply made him see the ultimate threat. In other words, and this is a phrase that was used to me, I don't think it's the words that the King used, you'll topple us all. In other words, Andrew did not.
And that's what they care about. They don't care about the victims. They care about saving their own backs. And the way that this was going to go, it was always going to end a way that helps them save their own backs.
On his shoulders. The idea was that the King had put to him something in the tenor of, would your mother really want to see you putting at risk the whole establishment? Which I think goes back to the chat that we had earlier this week, which is about how public perception and public mood was way ahead of certainly where Parliament was, where MPs were, and even where the palace, possibly even where the King was. And they suddenly got this sense that things were, I mean, not precarious. It wasn't like the whole thing was going to end overnight, but the questions were being raised in the public's imagination. And the King thought he had to move decisively and fast. And he had to make Andrew see that this was, yes, possibly an existential moment.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely fascinating, what you've gleaned from your contacts, Emily. Particularly, this isn't just about Andrew and the problem of Andrew and it just being about him. It's about all of them. And that unless they did something very, very dramatic, then all of them could be in some kind of jeopardy as a result of it.
The newsagents.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Protecting themselves. This popped up in the Tory graph, which is a conservative, well, it's called the Telegraph. We call it the Tory graph because it's conservative leaning. They put in their headline, Starmer, who's our British Prime Minister, refuses to remove Andrew from the line of succession. Now, why are they dragging the Prime Minister into this? No plans to remove Andrew from the line of succession. And that's another thing. He will not leave the line of succession. I think William is going to have the most volatile happens. I do not think that he is ready or the institution is ready for what's coming. I mean, again, I don't know exactly how all of this worked because a lot of these laws and stuff, it's stuff that's hanging over from the medieval times. But I can imagine there's a lot more to it than just the Prime Minister putting his foot down, because the Prime Minister is not a dictator. So it would take, a whole parliamentary process I don't think the Prime Minister can just say, "Oh, this guy can't be prince." I mean, we're a constitutional monarchy. Monarchy and the government work together, but I don't think that the Prime Minister has that power. But I just thought it was so interesting that the Telegraph decided to take this dig and now drag the Prime Minister into this. I mean, he's probably sick of the royals too, even though he can't say it. He's probably sick of their drama too. I mean, I think he does have a knighthood or something. He got a knighthood or an OBE or something from Charles. But wouldn't you be sick of it? All this drama going on? All the drama that you have going on trying to run the country as the Prime Minister, and then the royal family, our monarchy, also with their dramas. I'd be sick of it too. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. What an interesting web we weave. Okay, let's read some of your comments. Harry and Meghan aren't worried about anybody's titles. They were in their mansion watching the baseball Unbothered. Exactly. In their mansion, in their cinema room. So who cares? Oh, wait, someone says I'm coming in and out with the sound? Really? Is it bad? Is it like really bad? Okay, I'm going to have to listen to this podcast back. Because shouldn't be a reason I'm coming in and out. Lottie, you said, I'm telling you, Andrew just moved from one mansion to another. I don't call that a punishment. It is not. So what did they do about Fergie? I'm assuming that Fergie is probably going to live with him. She's got to have been part of the deal. Yeah, Tampon's been backed into a corner. Ah, yes, Kaisama has a knighthood, indeed. Yeah, so he's not. I don't think that Starmer is going to do anything other than take orders from the palace. But I doubt he'd be appreciated being thrown under the bus. Okay. That is going to be all from me for now. I think more people will be around much later. So again, like I said, if I can find some space in the airport that's quiet, I feel like I've done all the yelling that I needed to do in this podcast. So we can just do some call-ins later, and I will try and find, like I said, a quiet space in the airport. I'm going early because the airline that I'm flying with has the worst plane. I've flown with them before. They have the worst plane food that I've ever had. Ever. And I'm not somebody that's like a plain food. It's plain food. It's not going to be gourmet, but this was legitimately the worst plain food I've ever had. So I'm going to arrive early at the airport so I can have a nice meal before takeoff and not eat that prison food. All right, folks. I will see you hopefully later on in the day. Thank you again for the birthday wishes. Love you, love you, love ya. Ciao.